Location: Washington, D.C. Object: Presidential Bunker, Trisk Complex. In the nighttime silence of Washington, beneath the palace of government buildings, deep within the Trisk underground complex, an unofficial high-security bunker, the Raven Squad was already on its feet. Special Forces operatives responsible for the safety of the U.S. senior leadership in the event of unforeseen catastrophic events. Tonight was just such a night. All phones, laptops, and screens flashed red simultaneously. Red protocol: biological threat outbreak, Class ZETA. Active priority: evacuation of the president. Status: limited communication. All external communication lines are dead. The commander of Raven, Agent James Solas, a veteran of Black Ops, immediately gave the order. Get up. The president is at the residence. Our mission is to get him to the air evacuation point at Hill 7. Prepare for the worst. Protocol ZETA has never been activated before. After 3 minutes in the armored tunnels, the Raven Squad bursts into the residence. There, they find confused guards, flickering screens, and panic among the staff. President Edward Gray stands by a large window. His voice trembles. I was told this was no joke. That they rise after death. Solas wastes no time. Sir, we have to go? Right now? We have less than an hour before Washington descends into chaos. While passing through Tunnel Sector D, the group encounters the first infected guards. Their movements are convulsive. Their eyes are completely white. Their aggression is instantaneous. One lunges at Agent Marlowe and manages to bite his neck. Solas doesn't hesitate, a control shot. Marlowe is on his knees. Don't pull the trigger. I know how this ends. A shot. No emotion. The Black Pelican Protocol does not allow any infection to spread further. Moving through the lower corridors, the squad encounters the aftermath of the first hours of the disaster. Explosion at the CDC in Atlanta. Panic at Fort Detrick. Lost contact with NORAD. A message from a private medical company, Kura Biotech, the key to hell. Solas watches a video on his tablet marked, "For your eyes only." The footage shows an experiment. A man with a collar breaks free after an injection. Alive, after death. The lights over the Capitol have gone out. The Raven Squad, consisting of 6 special agents and President Edward Gray, emerged from the tunnels onto a concrete platform called Zone L9, a helicopter pad prepared for evacuation. But the sky was empty. The helicopter was supposed to be here 10 minutes ago. Agent Riley blurts out. Solas scans the horizon carefully. No connection, no sound of propellers. Silence on the air. Either they didn't take off, or they're no longer flying, he mutters and squeezes the radio. Amidst the concrete barricades, abandoned cars, and damaged containers, the creaking of metal can be heard. Then footsteps. Dozens. Perhaps hundreds. Suddenly, a deafening roar explodes from behind the concrete wall. Not human, not animal. In an instant, an infected technician in military uniform, wearing a burnt NBC, chemical protection, suit, tumbles out of the shadows. His face is contorted, his jaw twisted. Behind him is a crowd. Fire at the center. Solas shouts. Form a wedge. Cover the president. The squad fires an entire magazine. The infected do not stop. Some are missing limbs, but they are still crawling. Agent Bennett falls. One of the infected grabs his legs. A shot rings out. Another agent, Harris, does not have time to pull his friend out. Harris and Bennett are dead. Solas glances at the smoke grenade and pulls the president by his bulletproof vest. Change of plan. We're making our way to the Echo Sector garage. If there's even one armored vehicle left, we'll get out of here on wheels. The squad fires their entire ammunition supply. The infected don't stop. Some are missing limbs, but they're still crawling. Agent Bennett falls. One of the infected grabs his legs. A shot rings out. The other agent, Harris, doesn't have time to pull his friend out. Harris and Bennett are dead. Solas glances at the smoke grenade and pulls the president by his bulletproof vest. The rest of the squad, Solas, Riley, Travis, and the president himself, flee through a narrow service corridor. There is an old evacuation tunnel leading under the National Archives. But before the exit, there is an iron door welded shut from the inside, and a note stuck to it with a knife. If you're reading this, we couldn't hold the main entrance. They're too smart. We underestimated them. Thomas Kerr, Congressional Security Service. Suddenly, the radio comes to life. A crackle, and a voice. Raven, if you're still alive, respond. This is Storm 9. We're holding out in the raid zone. Coordinates: 38, 91 north, 77, 03 west. This is the Pentagon. We're still alive. Solas responds immediately. This is Raven. We're with the president. I repeat, we're with the president. We're coming to you. But the only response is static. Change of plan. We're making our way to the Echo Sector garage. If there's even one armored personnel carrier left, we'll get out of here on wheels. The walls of the corridor are cracking. The ventilation system is spewing out clouds of hot air. The roar of the generator echoes above the agents' heads, but it sounds like the last breath of a dying system. We're 5 minutes from the garage. Pray that at least one Hummer is still running, mutters Agent Solas, keeping the president behind him. Behind them is Agent Riley, holding an M4A1 assault rifle with a broken stock. Her eyes are red from exhaustion. This is no longer a rescue operation. It's desperation, she says quietly. They enter the underground garage. There are signs of a struggle everywhere. Overturned cars, bloodstains, fragments of body armor, and shell casings. But amid all the chaos, there is a Humvee with an armored capsule. This is our chance, Travis whispers and rushes to the cab. At that moment, a siren pierces the silence. The infected begin to crawl out of the back entrance, slowly, like shadows, as if they heard that there were living people here. Solas opens fire, covering Travis, who starts the engine. The president hides behind a concrete pillar, holding a pistol in his hands. It's all he has left. Riley throws a grenade, a brief flash of light and flesh. But the wave of infected doesn't stop. There are too many of them. Too many. Go! Solas yells, jumping aboard. Riley and the president follow him. Travis breaks through the iron gate, and the Humvee bursts onto the streets of Washington. On the surface, it's hell. The city is burning. The Capitol is burning. Bodies lie on the roads, mixed with debris. Straight ahead is an overturned tank, still slowly rotating its turret. No one is inside. The machine looks like a metal skeleton in an ocean of dead bodies. The Humvee pulls into the shadow of a damaged bridge. A few minutes' drive away is the Pentagon, according to the radio signal. Solas looks at the president. Tell me honestly, did you know? The president is silent. Then, quietly, I signed Protocol 9. But no one told me it wasn't a simulation. The Humvee approaches the massive Pentagon building, one of America's last strongholds. But instead of fortifications, there are open gates. The silence is more frightening than any scream. Why is no one here? Asks Riley, clutching his assault rifle. Because either everyone is dead, or there's something worse inside, replies Travis, checking the ammunition in his shotgun. Solas turns off the engine. Everyone gets out. The air smells of ozone, blood, and burnt concrete. The corridors inside the Pentagon are dark, with only emergency lighting flickering through the smoke. The walls are covered in blood. But everything looks controlled, as if there was a plan. On the floor lies the body of a man in a major's uniform. In his hand is a hard drive, handcuffed. This is a data storage facility. There may be the truth here, says the president, recognizing the access level. "Let's take it and run," whispers Riley. "There's something here. I can hear it." The first sound is like a rustling on metal, then a roar that echoes through the tunnels like an earthquake. Something huge crawls out of the darkness, a former human, transformed into a muscular monster with a curved spine, swollen skin, and a jaw that splits into 4 parts. "Oh my God," says Solas and shoots. The bullets don't help. The weapon only irritates the creature. It lunges forward. Travis fires a grenade launcher, and the mutant explodes into pieces. Silence. Steam and pieces of flesh fill the air. The agents' hearts beat in unison. "What was that?" asks Riley. "The result of Project Gateway," says the president. "It wasn't just a virus. It was an experiment. In the control center, a live terminal. Someone has launched an emergency broadcast to a military satellite. On the screen is the DARPA logo, with the words Protocol 9 activated. Control lost underneath. Someone tried to warn us. But they didn't make it in time," Solas mutters. "This wasn't a leak. It was planned. We were pawns," adds Travis. The president finds the coordinates of the last active defense point on the map, Andrews Air Force Base, 20 kilometers away. There will be a plane there. A chance to get to NORAD headquarters. If anyone is still there, alive. The agents agree. But with a hard drive in hand and creatures that can no longer be called simply zombies, this is no longer an escape, but a mission of exposure. The Humvee races between burned-out cars, bodies in camouflage, and stains that no longer resemble blood, dark, almost black. The sky is getting lighter, but instead of hope, it brings anxiety. Smoke from fires stretches to the horizon. Helicopters are not flying, and even the radio is silent. The president is silent. His face is stone. He holds the hard drive like a nuclear button. Andrews Air Force Base. "If it's fallen, we're next," says Riley. Solas steps on the gas. At the entrance is an abandoned air traffic control tower. The windows are smashed from the inside. The doors are broken. The gunfire around them is chaotic, blind fire. No line of defense, no survivors. "Someone was shooting at everything," Travis mutters. Their nerves gave out. "They weren't ready," Solas adds. They pass an ammunition depot. The door is open. Inside, there is no one. Everything is in place. Either the retreat was organized or everyone just left, says the president. "Let's look for Hangar 17. Hangar 17 is in the middle of the runway. Around it are helicopter wreckage, a burned-out Humvee, and the charred body of a pilot in the cockpit of a fighter jet. "Something big happened here," says Riley. They cautiously go inside, and they see something impressive. In the center of the hangar stands a huge C-17 transport plane, started up and ready for takeoff. Around it are bodies and special equipment, many of them with bite marks, but some with bullet wounds to the head. "Were they shot by their own people?" asks Travis. On board is equipment, refrigerators with test tubes, laptops, documents marked ultra black. "They weren't evacuating. They were transporting samples," says Solas. "It wasn't a rescue, it was a cleanup." The president activates an encrypted government-level channel. Finally, a response. "This is Shadow 6. You weren't supposed to see this. Put the disk down and leave the hangar. I repeat, put the disk down. This is no longer about rescue, but about the truth," says the president, turning off the channel. The agents reload their weapons. They know they are being followed. Solas closed the rear ramp of the C-17. The plane's engines were already roaring, and the landing lights were flashing. Riley and Travis took up positions near the hangar door when the first shot rang out. A silencer. A hit on the concrete near Riley's foot. "Contact. 9 o'clock," she shouted, returning fire. Shadowy figures dressed in black combat suits without identification marks melted into the containers. They moved like ghosts, Precisely, quickly. They weren't zombies. They were people. Specialists. It's Shadow 6, said Solas. We've been spotted. We can't take off in the plane. They'll shoot us down in midair, shouted Riley. Switch to Raven option. Option Raven was evacuation through old underground tunnels left over from the Cold War. Riley led the group through a technical hatch at the rear of the hangar. The Shadow's fire continued, aiming to damage but not destroy the plane. They don't want to destroy the samples. They want them back. Travis guessed. The tunnel was dark and damp. The light from the flashlights reflected off the steel pipes, and the air was filled with mustiness and the rustling of rats. The president holds the disc as if it were his last duty. No one speaks. Everyone understands. Now they are enemies of their own state. Behind them, they hear the tunnel door blown off by an explosion. The shadows are following them. At the tunnel fork, the agents detonate 2 C4 charges. Metal roars, concrete settles. The passage is blocked. But not for long. They're delayed, but not stopped, says Solas. We need to get to the surface. They climb up the emergency shaft and come out right at the warehouses outside the base. Abandoned trucks. Broken drones. Everything is silent. But behind them, the sound of bots on metal can already be heard. Riley grabs one of the armored SUVs. Travis starts the engine. The president gets inside. He still has the disc. They won't let us live. But if we tell the truth, maybe someone will survive, he says. Now this is our war. They head toward the abandoned television center in the city. But Shadow 6 has already reported. Target in motion. Protocol Thunder activated. Destroy all. The deserted streets of Washington looked like a scene from a disaster movie. Burning cars, mangled bodies, shattered shop windows. The armored SUV was the last island of safety in this hell. Travis was behind the wheel. Solas was on the roof with an M249 machine gun. Riley was in the back with the president. The data center is a block away. The Global Net Television Center. If there's even one live operator left there, we have a chance, Riley reported. But everything changed at the turn. Out of the rubble of the building jumped, not zombies. They were humanoid creatures with metal implants, white eyes, and jaws like wolves. Hybrids. Fast. Deadly. Their movements were almost coordinated. What the hell is that? Whispered the president. The first hybrid crashed into the car, smashing the windshield. Riley reacted instantly. 2 shots to the head, and the creature froze. Others pounced on the car from all sides. Solas sprayed the street with machine gun fire. The bullets tore off pieces of flesh, but the hybrids only died from a direct hit to the brain. And then, a drone. Enemy. It fell from the sky and crashed right in front of the SUV. Explosion. The car overturned. Riley opened her eyes first. Her head was ringing. Her face was covered in blood. Solas lay unconscious. Travis had climbed out of the wreckage, limping but alive. The president, clutching his chest, slowly got to his feet. The disc was with him. The hybrids approached slowly. But someone stopped them. A burst of automatic gunfire rang out from a neighboring building. The hybrids fell. "Come on," shouted the man in black, wearing an NBC mask and carrying an M4 assault rifle. "Hurry, before the drones return." They were led into the basement of an old electronics store. 2 people were already sitting there, a female engineer and a former paramedic. "People. Alive. Are you from the government? Are you the ones who know something?" The woman asked when she saw the president. "I have a satellite transmitter, but I need access to the core of the broadcast server. Global Net is under the control of a private army. They're already there." "Whose army?" Solas asked. The woman looked at the disc in the president's hands. "The same organization that started this. They know you're alive, and they're coming for you." A message appeared on the screen from an open military frequency. Protocol GROM activated. Targets: U.S. President, Disk Facility, Secret Service agents, escort. Eliminate on site. Order approved. CIA, Division Z4. The president's hands were sweaty. They're ready to destroy me. To cover it up. The team was preparing for the assault. The television center building resembled a fortress. Iron doors, bulletproof glass, cameras, security towers. And worst of all, no signal to the outside world. Riley, Travis, Solas, and the president, whom they now protected not as a symbol, but as a person, moved through the sewer tunnels with their new allies. A female engineer who called herself Mia Santos held an old laptop with a squeaky fan and a yellow case in her hands. I broke the access protocol. In 5 minutes, I'll be able to get the signal, but they'll definitely sense it. Travis checked the magazine. The zombies aren't a threat to us. There's another animal out there, armed men, and they don't work for the government. When they made their way into the technical room, they saw the first guards, not just mercenaries. They were dressed in identical uniforms, without insignia, but with unique black helmets, some of them with strange implants in their temples. These aren't ordinary people, Mia whispered. Their type, 2 hybrids. Completely under control. Chipped. Solas took out the first one with a sniper shot. The others fell after a short but fierce firefight. The president, sitting under the console, pressed the disc to his chest. Mia connected the wires. The monitors lit up. The fans hummed. On the screen was a live broadcast. The satellite frequency was open. The camera's working. Sit down, she shouted to the president. He hesitated at first, but sat down. The camera flashed red. I am the President of the United States of America. If you are listening, know this. The country is under threat. Not from outside. The virus is not a glitch. It is a weapon. It was released deliberately, under the name Purification. Pause. Deep breath. Some government agencies, intelligence agencies, private corporations, they no longer serve the people. They created an artificial virus, released it, and began the purge. They began the hunt. For us. For you. We must resist. The sound of a gunshot. One of the hybrids broke through the tunnel. Riley managed to shoot it, but the shot damaged the broadcast console. The broadcast was interrupted. Did the signal go out? Asked the president. Mia nodded. 20 seconds of airtime. But that might be enough. A siren wailed outside. Enemy drones. The echo of a helicopter. It's going to get hot in here. Solas muttered, loading his grenade launcher. A black helicopter landed on the roof. Soldiers and exoskeletons jump out one after another. One of them, whose helmet bears a symbol with an eye and the letters Z4, speaks into his radio. Zeroing team in position. Destroy everyone. Take the disc. The helicopter kicked up a storm of dust and debris from above. The enemies disembarked methodically, like automated machines, one figure after another in armor that absorbed the sunlight. Group Z4. Mia whispered. They call themselves gods. They don't kill, they purify. Solas and Riley had already taken up defensive positions in the lobby. The president and Mia hid in the technical bunker under a concrete slab. Hold on, Travis shouted. We have to hold out for at least 5 minutes while the auto relay spreads the signal. All the base TV towers are already synchronized. The first enemy broke through the glass, almost silently. The armor absorbed the sound. He didn't shoot. He walked straight toward Solas, like a hunter. Solas shot him in the chest, to no effect. The second shot was to the neck. The plates broke, the metal scattered. The body shuddered. It's not armor, it's exoskin. And it's powered by something. Warm, Solas muttered. Travis threw a smoke grenade, covering their retreat. There were muffled blows from behind. Zombies. From the sewers. Riley shouted. They realized that Z4 had deliberately brought the infected to the building to isolate the team. Now they were trapped between conscious killers and people who had lost consciousness forever. The president clutched the data disk. If they get me, burn it. And everything here. Blow it up. He handed Travis a coded key fob. No, Mr. President. If you die, the truth will die with you. The zombies were the first to break into the room. Some of them were already wearing fragments of ZETA armor. It was clear that some had been used for experiments. They're testing a combination, a living body and a cyber brain, Mia said. They want to create an army that never sleeps and never asks questions. Solas blew up the stairs, cutting off the upper floors. We're going down. We have one more way out. The sewer junction leads to the old government substation. The president goes down last. Behind him, smoke, flames, torn screams. Above them are the last steps of ZETA. Mia takes the server with a backup copy of the broadcast with her. Travis places the key fob under the central hall support and presses the code. Timer, 120 seconds. The team flees through the underground passages as a neutron charge explodes overhead. The television center collapses. Hundreds of miles away, in every city where the towers operate, the screens flicker. A dark screen appears. The words, "This is not a pandemic. This is genocide." Then, the president's face. And millions of people across America hear for the first time what was supposed to remain a secret. Silent darkness. Dust from the collapsed television center has not yet settled. The ventilation system roars. The president sits on an iron bench. Next to him are Riley, Travis, Solas, and Mia. The signal went live for at least 11 minutes, Mia said. On TikTok, Facebook, even to military units in the West. People know. But how will this end? The president muttered. We destroyed the tower, lost communication. We're just remnants. Then the first response signal sounded. The old radio came to life. A man's voice with a strong Texas accent. This is Colonel Garrison, 2nd Battalion. We saw the broadcast. You are not alone. The resistance has begun. I repeat, the resistance has begun. Travis scrolled through the images from the backup camera in the tunnel. All the survivors lined up in front of the table. The president, code name, Bastion. Travis, special agent. Riley, combat specialist. Solas, communications specialist, former SEAL. Mia, CIA analyst, defector. And now, they are no longer agents. They are the core of the new command. The president stood up. We will not run away. If this is war, we are opening a front. Today. He pressed a button on the old terminal. An encrypted channel turned on. Over 30 remote points appeared on the map. Mia activates the satellite repeater with what remains of GlobalNet. All data on the Rebirth project is now open. The whole world will know who is behind the apocalypse. According to a report from China, anomalous activity has already been detected in Shanghai. In Italy, communication with Naples has been lost. Israel has completely closed its borders. Ukraine has declared martial law. But most importantly, people are no longer silent. Riley pulls out the old Secret Service emblem. This oath no longer means protecting one man. From now on, it means protecting the truth. Humanity. Everyone pressed their hands to their chests. And at that moment, in the last seconds of the first 24 hours of the apocalypse, the new resistance movement was born,